Hey shooters, thanks for tuning in again to Long Range Shooters of Utah. I want to take a minute to talk about hearing protection. Too often when I get folks that I work with or friends and things that aren't as big as shooters, that maybe shoot a couple times a year, maybe have a 22 or a shotgun. When we go out to the range, I often see them using foamies or big ear muffs and things like that. And I find it kind of funny because you can shout at them from 2 or 3 feet away and they have no idea that you're talking to them. So this hearing protection is working really, really well, but working too well. So much so that it almost becomes a bit of a safety concern. Especially when you're out here in the desert, you're shooting long range, there's a pretty good likelihood there's other people out here zipping around on four-wheelers and whatnot. So you really got to be keen and pay attention to make sure that someone else isn't out and about downrange from where you're shooting. So having hearing protection where you can hear your folks, your friends and things next to you is really an enhancement when it comes to safety. So most of the guys you see running around the range, unless they've got a really high-end in-ear amplified hearing protection, are probably using these Leight SportEar muffs. These run between $30 or $40, you get a great deal on Amazon, to about $60 if you're paying full retail price at a store. But they're absolutely phenomenal. As you can see, they're very low profile. They fold up in a nice compact package. They fold out. You've got a dial here on the side that turns up the volume. You can hear it click when it comes on and click when it turns off, and you can turn that amplified sound up. The beauty of that is I can turn these on and I'm not only hearing as I would normally without hearing protection, but I'm actually amplifying my hearing. So the cool thing about using this for long range shooting is I can take a shot even at a piece of steel at maybe a mile away, 1,700 yards away, and hear that ding. Once it hits and the report comes back, I can hear it much better wearing these than I can without hearing protection on. Also, I can hear cars coming. So if a truck pulled off the freeway over here, came down the dirt road, I'd be able to hear it a lot sooner wearing these than I would if I just had no hearing protection on at all. So they're really nice for that. And then of course, if you've got folks telling you, hey, whoa, stop, wait, there's somebody out there, or ceasefire, or whatever it might be, you're going to be able to hear those folks around you. Very, very, very much worth the investment of a few extra dollars to get a good set of muffs like this. So in today's video, what we want to do is compare a set that was sent to us by SportEar. These are their M4. These provide 6 times amplification of your hearing, and they protect, they reduce the heard sound by 25 decibels, which is really comparable to the Leights. They are just slightly bigger, a little thicker, a little higher profile, but once again, these do fold up in the same fashion as the SportEars do. It's a little bit different the way they do it, but they fold up here, if I can remember how. Yeah, they fold up like that, something like that. They fold up a lot smaller than they look right now, but not as small as the Leights. So one other thing I noticed too is they have a dial on both ears rather than the Leights that have it just on one ear, and then they have a microphone on each side. The Leights run on 2 AAA batteries. These run on 4 AAA batteries. They do come in the package. So this is what your package is going to look like hanging in the store from SportEar. So going to pull out the shotgun, take a few shots, and just compare these. I've used these for a long time, never used these before, so I'm curious to see how they stack up to the Leights that are so popular. And then make sure and check out SportEar for the other options they have available. They make a fantastic set that's actually an in-ear that's universal, and then they also have their in-ear version that's more like a traditional hearing aid where they actually fit your ear, so they mold your ear and it fits in nicely. That's what I use. These are only going to run, less than $100. The in-ear ones that are universal are going to run, they're called the Ghost Strike 2s. They run between $300 and $500 depending on the version you get. And then the in-ear molded ones are going to run you typically, I think the lowest end one's about a little over $1,000 or $1,500, and then you can go all the way up to $5,000 and $6,000 on some of those sets. But the benefit of those being, these do tend to get in the way on your rifle. They'll bump into your cheek rest and lift off your ear and whatnot. But for $50, you can't beat them. So let's give them a shot real quick and see how the two of these compare while we're shooting the shotgun. Let's do it. All right, so I've got my Leight muffs on. These are the ones I've been using for years. I've got a shotgun here, a new one. This is the JM Pro series from Mossberg. It's the Jerry Michalek series. Semi-automatic. So got 3 shells here. These are just your typical field loads for shooting skeet and whatnot. So let's take a few shots and just compare you know, the normal sound of this to the new M4s from SportEar. All right, so I've used these before, so as I expected, it cut off all the sound. I can hear really well, especially if I turn these up all the way. I can hear the crackling of the snow under my feet, and they work really, really, really well. And then, of course, when I turn them off, they have a nice click. I turn them back on. So very, very comfortable with these, used them a lot. Let's try the SportEar and see how they go. All right, so I've got the SportEar version on, and right away I can tell that the amplified sound's a little bit different. I almost feel like I'm hearing maybe a little bit of an echo, but we'll have to play with them a little bit more. Once again, it is a little bit different in that it's got individual knobs to turn up the sound. So I don't know if that provides, maybe that's why I'm getting the echo. It's not even an echo, it's more just, it just sounds different. It's like, it feels like I'm hearing from two different microphones and there's like maybe a delay or something. It's certainly not bad, it's just different. It's distinctly different. So I'm also just listening. You can hear a bird. It is amplifying the sound, but it does almost seem a little bit muffled. So let's see how it does shooting. All right, let's take out a few more of these clay pigeons. Definitely cut out the sound, protected my hearing just fine. Maybe even a little more so than the Howard Leights. Really didn't hear this as much. They do squeeze tighter on your head, I feel. And they do have more cushion than the Howard Leights. The Howard Leights are really low profile, which is a good thing, but they don't have a lot of cushion, which I know wearing glasses, if you're wearing glasses or a hat, having that little tiny bit of cushion sometimes can be, it can definitely push on your glasses and give you a headache over time. Also, not having that padding, especially if you're on a rifle and you got against your cheek rest and you're pushing down, it can pick that up off your ear. And because that cushion is thinner, it doesn't fill in that gap as much. And so you can get a little bit of sound coming in and kind of defeat a little bit of the sound deadening capability of the muffs. So these are pretty comfortable. They're definitely a little thicker, a little heavier duty. The sound is a little bizarre. I'm gonna have to get used to that. I think I like the sound clarity of the Howard Leights a little bit better, but comfort-wise, these do tend to be a little bit more versatile, I feel, being that I've got the glasses on and whatnot. They do squeeze your head quite a bit and they are pretty stiff to adjust, but they are brand new out of the box, whereas the Howard Leights I've had for a long time. They do use kind of a traditional ratchet method, so it's got some little bumps here and then a plastic, it kind of ratchets across that, which is kind of stiff. Maybe it just needs to break in. It's also cold out here. I also worry a little bit that these are pretty thin, and being that they're plastic, I worry that in a cold environment like this, if you're pushing them in and out a lot, that they might snap, and if they snap, they'd be totally worthless. Whereas the Howard Leights, you'll notice here, got my gun safe, you notice that they use a metal little bar there. They've got a little bit of plastic, but the metal wraps all the way around, and then the adjustment actually happens, right inside there is where it slides. So that's where you're getting your adjustment, is on that, versus on these guys, you've got this plastic piece here that's sliding in and out. You can hear it ratcheting in there. So that would be my concern, is that little thin piece of plastic, if there's no metal in there, that in a cold condition, if I stretch these too much, they might break. But they are, relatively thick, reinforced. But once again, you can see the comparison in the amount of padding. These are definitely more low profile, but these have a lot more padding and are a little bit more comfortable, I would say. So I don't know if I see an advantage to having the individual microphones or individual sides. You definitely have to carry more batteries if they do go dead. And I'm getting, once again, I kind of, see, now they feel a little better. Except when I talk. When I talk, I can kind of, it sounds like I'm hearing it myself a little bit twice. But, it's, for the price point, let's put these back on. So these do feel a little bit more true to sound. Like I don't feel any echo, I don't hear anything. Like they feel or they sound more like my natural hearing does. So I don't know, I still like the Howard Leights. I don't think I'm going to trade them in for the SportEar. But then again, if I got those, I don't think I'd be unhappy. These do, I mean, even now, just wearing these glasses, I feel like they are sitting off my head a little bit because they don't have that padding. And I have noticed in the past, that's why I've gone to the in-ear version, is you know, getting on my gun, having my rifle push that up and open up that gap. And if I've got somebody shooting next to me with a muzzle brake, I definitely can hear it. And of course, this bumping into my gun is not necessarily ideal either. That's why I've gone to the in-ear. But nonetheless, both of these are good options. Way better than, you know, a typical muff that's not amplified, and definitely a lot better than the little foamies. Never go out and shoot without hearing protection. That's just dumb. You'll regret that one day. Don't do it. If you're shooting suppressed, you don't always need it, but sometimes when you are shooting suppressed, you still do need hearing protection. So it's never a bad thing. With these, you're getting the advantage of having your hearing protected, but you're also able to hear a lot better as well. So either one of these options is going to be really good. Once again, I'll put both links to these for the best price I can find online. I'll put those in the description so you can pick a pair of these up for yourself. I'd recommend both of them. If you want something more low profile, tried and tested, and I know a lot of guys use these and love them. You can't go wrong with the Howard Leights. These seem like a great option as well. Definitely a little more comfortable as far as having more padding and maybe a little bit more adjustability. So another option you consider as well. I'll put a link for both. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And stay tuned for future product reviews and also our review coming up of the in-ear options from SportEar. Thanks, guys. So here we are at SHOT Show 2016. Got Todd McGee from Dead Air Armament.
Hi, I'm Kelly McMillan here.
We're gonna give it a shot right now.